You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
We saw an iguana today. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. From jerseys to hats to the legendary foam finger, you'll find it all and more at the Sports Closet. The show is a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Tyler and Liam coming to you from our Sports Closet studio. That is the patio at our Airbnb in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. Did that fucking iguana, Aaron, do we have the picture? I think it's an iguana.
I believe it was an iguana.
And he was beautiful. The coloring on this guy, like it was green. There was like a little bit of blue almost on him. And he was huge. Like, I mean, that is probably from tip to tip, he's probably 3 feet.
Yeah, probably a good 3-footer, I would think. He was hanging around until just before the show.
I know.
Might have gone for a bit of a dip in there, but yeah, we named him Nelly, the iguana.
We did?
Just now.
Okay.
So now his name is Nelly the iguana. Third iguana we've seen on this trip so far, but could be the same one 3 times. Although 2 of them were in one spot.
Yeah, 2 of them were in one spot. I believe they were friends.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Honestly, it's another off day. Yeah. There's not like, I mean, we don't have a game yesterday to talk about. We don't have a game tonight to get ready for. So my one big question would be, why are you all watching this show? I feel like we could have just came together and had taken the day off. But alas, we are here. We'll be joined by Matt Larkin coming up at 12:30. Yes, he is one of the few writers who had Evan Bouchard on his Norris Trophy ballot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happened today.
Yeah, so we're going to chat with Larks about that. We're going to get his take on this Stanley Cup Final, maybe do a little off-season discussion as well. We'll do a little Oilers off-season discussion in a bit with our Sherwood Ford Giant questions. So, I mean, I'm kidding around. Please watch the show. We need to get paid, and we need to pay off this trip that we're on. So don't leave. We still have a lot to talk about. You're putting someone in timeout?
Steve is gone.
Why?
He just kept asking people about OKC and Indiana.
Oh.
And I've never seen him in there before, and I'm pretty sure it's probably Doug Waite.
Dacky says, because we have a parasocial relationship, also go Oilers. Parasocial, that's an interesting way to put it. I think I would imagine like a parasite, like they take from us, but we don't take from them.
Gotcha.
Well, here's an idea. We have an hour to kill. Why don't you guys ask us some goddamn questions for once?
AMA questions.
Yeah, let's do a little AMA.
Yeah. Aaron, grab the AMA questions.
Yeah. Whoa, Jeff Skinner. I feel like I'm not breaking the fourth wall, Aaron. I'm not going to read the text you sent. Aaron met the person behind the Jeff Skinner name.
Oh.
Greta. Very interesting.
As expected? Oh, it's wow. Good question.
Yeah. Interesting. Tammy drops in a super chat. We are watching because we love our Oily boys. For Ben, always a little $5 donation to the Ben Stelter Foundation. Our YouTube chat, as always, brought to you by Odd Company Brewing and Nation Beer Everyday Lager, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. That's the most stunning development of the day, but I digress.
Did you get a picture with him, Aaron?
Hey, Aaron, maybe we work that out? No? All right. Let's talk a little bit. It was supposed to be a day off today for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
And yesterday they practiced relatively hard. Like it was a full practice at the complex here in Fort Lauderdale. Today, Knoblauch kind of said, like, we're not practicing. It's going to be an optional. And a lot of the Oilers were on the ice. McDavid, Leon, all the way down. The boys, I think, are, again, I think part of it is you don't want to just be sitting around all day. Yeah. I think it is a good sign, though, that a lot of guys are on the ice today skating around. I think it's not just good for the mindset. It also shows that guys are healthy, too. Because if you were like, I don't think Nuge was out there today, but other than that, I think everyone was on the ice for the optional. And it's like, hey, that's a team that really wants to work through things here. That's a team that's healthy.
Yeah, it is a good sign, like you said. They're not just kind of sitting around waiting. It's probably... the extra day is such a weird thing to have in the series at this point, but just kind of is what it is. Thanks NBA for nothing. But Nuge, I would be shocked if he skated again for an optional for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't think he will. He's probably just a warm-up only.
He's probably labeled as game time decision, I would think, every single game.
Yeah. I was asked yesterday, I was doing a radio hit in Regina, and I was asked to speculate on what I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' injury could be. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was something arms related, because they pulled him off the power play. And when he was going out skating, he was kind of like skating around gingerly. I wonder if it's not affecting his ability to take shots.
Well, he did have the one good chance, though.
Yeah, and like, again, I'm not saying like he can't shoot the puck. I'm just saying that might be why he's not, like, he's fine. He can play through it, but they're like, dude, there's no point in you coming out and taking the optional if every time you take a shot on goal, it hurts.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah.
So he's obviously good enough, fine enough to play regular season. Yeah, obviously, and you miss a few games, but just a different time of year. But I didn't think he looked out of place, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? I thought he was overall like fine in comparison to how the rest of the game really went for everyone. I think everyone was pretty terrible. But somehow Evan Bouchard finished 0-1 tonight.
Yeah. Kris Knoblauch, speaking to the media this morning, did say that they are contemplating one lineup change. Our sources indicating it will be Troy Stetcher in for John Clingberg.
Yes.
Sources
are my two eyes.
Yeah, all indications are
obvious.
All indications are that it's going to be Troy Stetcher coming in for John Clingberg. So yeah, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins stays a game time decision. Did not confirm a starting goalie. I believe it will be Stuart Skinner.
I think it should be. Like, I know there was the whole thing when the Oilers played Vegas and Jack Campbell should have gone in for Skinner, and I agree. Like, that should have been a decision that was made, but Jack Campbell came into that series and actually made like a difference. You know what I mean? Like, Calvin Pickard came in a relief appearance, and if that game went a different way in the sense of everyone was bad, everyone was good, but Skinner let them down.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, like, play Calvin Pickard, but that was not the case. Stuart Skinner was bad on Monday. He did not help the team win, but the team in front of him also didn't help him at all.
No,
they were all bad. So it is what it is. Stuart Skinner, obviously, we talked about it numerous times too. Great in game fours. The Oilers, I believe, haven't lost a game 4 under Knoblauch. So all signs point to them bouncing back, which is what someone asked in the chat. Who was it? I can't find it. But whoever it was, they just asked, like, do you really believe this team can come back in game 4 and win the game? I was like, absolutely. I really do. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to be better tomorrow because they couldn't be much worse.
Yeah, I mean, like, power play stunk, penalty kill stunk, goalie stunk, blue line couldn't move the puck, forwards couldn't generate a second chance opportunity to save their life. If all 5 of those go poorly, you know what happens? You lose 6-1 to the Florida Panthers. So not one single element of their game was good. The only thing that worries me is like if they would have lost that game 3-2 and we were sitting here being like, man, Skinner gave up 2 weak ones and the power play was bad, blah, 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 blah. You'd sit there and go, okay, correct a couple of those and this series is yours. Where I'm a little bit nervous here is like the Oilers need to bring their A-plus game and it's still going to be a real tight hockey game. Like, I still think if the Oilers are at their best every single game from now to the end of this series, they win. But I will say you need the bounces to go with it, right? Like, there is a world where the Oilers play their A-plus and like a couple shots at the post, a weird one goes in and you lose the hockey game, or Bob stands on his head. So again, they need to dial everything in. It's not just enough to be like, okay, if their power play gets going, it'll be better. Okay, if Stu plays a little better, they'll be good. Like, no, you need like a combination of all these things. Yeah,
you do. You just need to. They need to get in the game earlier than what they did the other day, and obviously the big way to do that is to not have a parade to the box.
Yeah,
they just have to show more discipline. And again, like we spoke about it yesterday, like there's the understanding of like trying to engage in the battle and be physical and show a presence, which is important in the game. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not as on Evander Kane as maybe some people are, because I understand what he was trying to do. And I think a couple of times, especially the Forsley one, that was a bit unfortunate, just drawn into it a little bit too much. But I think overall, like, if he can just find the bat, toe the line, then he's going to have a big impact. And I think Edmonton needs to be physical in the first period, but just don't cross the line, and you need to get everyone going. That's when the Oilers are the best, is when 4 lines are rolling out there.
Yeah. Connor is in the YouTube chat. He says, I think George Larocque said it best. Losing by 5 gives you more motivation to come out swinging game 4 than losing by 1.
Yeah.
I will disagree with that. If your motivation's got to be sky high, it's the bleeping Stanley Cup Final here, folks. Like, if you lose by 1, if you win by 6, or you lose by 9, like your motivation needs to be at its highest, and if it's not, you have a serious problem. It's a long series. Yeah. It's a grind. I get all of that. Even expecting the Oilers to just be at their best every single night, not realistic. Like, they were going to lay a stinker in all likelihood eventually in this series.
And Florida probably will have a terrible game at some point too.
I believe that to be the case.
As long as it goes, like every game, I think one team is like due to like not show up at some point. Unfortunately, the Oilers did it in a very dramatic way. I think when we saw them play Vegas, they were bad in game 3, only lost to literally a last-second goal. Mm-hmm. And even against Dallas, they had a bad third period, and it all fell apart. Against LA, they obviously had 2 games. There's not room to have 2 bad games in this series, but one isn't the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. Derek is in. Comments on the Wallman fines, because he did get 2 $5,000 fines. Off-ice management, ? The standard in the NHL is so stupid. Because, Wallman gets a fine for punching Tkachuk while he's being held back. Meanwhile, Sam Bennett can wail on an Oiler while the linesman's holding him down, and there's no fine there, right? Like, I don't know. I think there were a lot of really dangerous plays in that hockey game. A bunch of them did come from the Edmonton Oilers or were inflicted on the Florida Panthers by the Edmonton Oilers. There was also some dumb shit that the Florida Panthers did. Like, again, I don't really fully get it. Oh, is that when they took... So that's why he was mad. Hey, can you run this clip?
They took his glove, yeah.
So he rips his glove out, and then Greer keeps it and throws it in the Panthers bench. And that's why, like, so again, why isn't Greer getting a fucking fine for that? Having this clip of him squirting the water bottle at Seth Jones with the context of Jake Wallman's glove is at Seth Jones' feet, and watch, Seth Jones knows it's in there. He sees it bounce at his feet. Like, that context changes my view of this clip.
And Seth Jones being like, hey, what are you going to do about it? Like, buddy.
Give him his fucking glove back. What are you, 5 years old?
Grab your wall ball and spray him back.
Oh, like, water fight.
Yeah, water fight. Stanley Cup Final is what we're here for. Mm-hmm. I will say, sorry, I forgot who asked the question. Spraying water in the bench, whatever, yeah, 5K fine is what it is. Like you said, the punching in the face one is dumb. There was so much of that in that game. Like, you could have handed it out to every player. What about, like, Lundell skating up to Bouchard and just punching him right in the face? At the end of the first period, like stuff like that. It's like, okay, like you want to do it, like you're just putting yourself in a bad spot, I think, as a league to do that stuff. I'm glad no one was suspended. The equipment going into the bench stuff has always been kind of something I feel like the league should not allow also too, because you're just damaging equipment. Like I always hate the ones where it's like you get the stick in the bench and you just snap it. It's like, okay, that is a pain in the ass for the player. But there's nothing worse than now the equipment manager has to go and sort that out for the player. Like, you're just making other people's lives miserable for no reason.
You know what I remembered from earlier in the playoffs the other day that really didn't get enough attention? That should have actually probably been a suspension, never mind a fine.
Austin Matthews?
No. The Leafs Panther series. So you're on the right track.
Close, yeah.
There was a play where William Nylander was skating up the boards, and Nico Mikkola opened the gate on him. That is such a fucking... And I'll swear a couple times just if you got kids, dial it down. That's such a fucking piece of shit move.
Yeah. It's
like, I have no other way to even articulate that, but like, you break ribs very easily doing that.
Yeah.
There are sharp edges. That thing is concreted, bolted in. Like, the bench doesn't move. And Mikkola, if you watch that clip, again, I'm referencing something that happened a month ago. I understand that. But like, there is no Florida Panthers defenseman in the vicinity. There's a forward who's kind of shoving Nylander, and Mikkola literally opens up the gate for no other reason than to be like, I'm going to try hurt William Nylander here.
100%.
The league did nothing about it.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers get away with so much shit. We talked about this with the Murs yesterday, but Florida's game plan is we are going to take we're going to commit 12 infractions in the first period. And you know what? They're going to call 4 of them. Okay, second period, you know what we're doing? We're committing 12 infractions again, buddy. Yeah. And the refs are going to sit there and they're going to be desensitized to it. And the refs are going to go, well, we can't call everything. We got to change the standard, whatever. Like, I want to roast the refs, but I also just sit here. It's more of like a bigger picture thing in hockey where, like, can you imagine if they just truly called everything in a game? Florida would be shorthanded 9 times in game 4, and the whole thing after the game would be that the refs gave it to the Oilers, when in reality, they would probably just be calling the rule book. And I saw someone tweet, they're like, McDavid is absolutely fair game for the Panthers to take a run at. They've been taking runs at him the whole series.
I think everyone's just been taking runs at everyone.
And like, you think teams don't take runs at Connor McDavid? Brad Marchand, 8 minutes into this series, during a whistle, skated up to McDavid unprompted. They were not even getting ready for the faceoff and punched him square in the chest. And the refs did shit all about it.
Yeah, that was one. I mean, I don't think it was a dirty play by any means, but Aaron Ekblad got a pretty good piece of Connor McDavid last game.
Yeah.
Solid hit. Fair play. I just never understand those tweets, because you're right. It's not like they just look around, oh, McDavid, I can't. No one's done anything yet. I can't give him a slash across the hands. It's like, buddy, that guy gets 4 or 5 a game. That don't get called ever. But it's just what they do, and the Oilers need to find a way to counter it, I guess you could say. And like people, what's that? A moment of clarity said Frederick tried to grab Bennett, and what's that? Jonah Gadjevich dropped him before he beat Nurse. I thought Nurse did good. Is he the toughest guy out there? Yes, Jonah Gadjevich is the toughest guy out there. But I actually liked what Frederick did. Like, I appreciate that he went out there and tried to make some kind of difference. And like, it's the first time we've really seen that so far from him, I would say, in the playoffs. But the opportunity was there for him to do it, and he took it.
Aaron, I sent you that Mika hit, by the way. I just emailed it to you. Frederick, the fact he somehow broke his stick doing that is crazy. He must have caught like some sort of like hard guard or something on Bennett. Or
must have, yeah. Oh, and we all know he doesn't have a weak stick, because he crushed one on his head.
Yeah, he cracked one over his head. But I love that Trent Frederick, offensively, this hasn't been going good. And we're going to talk more about Frederick's future with the team in a little bit here on the show. But I love that he's at least, and I even heard like behind the scenes talking to people, Frederick coming into the series was like, he wanted to embrace the role of being a pain in the ass, is what I heard. And like, he's done that, man. And like, you know what? If you're not going to score, make an impact somewhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I'm the leader of the Frederick fan club. You started the whole thing. I've taken over. Yeah. But I appreciate what he's done. I think if the others can keep him, it's a good idea.
Aaron, just play that Mika clip whenever you have it, if you're able to pull it up. Oh, yeah. Like, this is insane. It is insane how greasy it is, because watch, Mika sits back down and closes the gate again. That's Lundell skating up. Mika cracks open the gate when he sees Nylander coming. Like, this should have been a suspension. I know they never would, because like, you can't prove that he did it on purpose, but like, NHL players are not stupid. And Nico Mikkola is a dumb rat.
Do you think they should take gates out of hockey?
Yeah, I think there actually is like a pretty decent justification for it. Like, I mean, you'd have more skate blades like flying into the bench and stuff, which would be dangerous. But
they all do that anyway. Like, it would obviously lower levels. I think you should keep the gates in, but when you get to the NHL, for me, it's just rotate over the boards.
Yeah, guys, just pop over all the time. Yeah. All right, what else is going on in the chat? Nick says Bennett didn't practice today, but he took media, so he's probably fine. Yeah, he's fine. It's super dirty, man. Like crazy. Naramac says Frederick is useless. He's slumping, but I don't like. There's a player there. You don't score 17 goals playing third line minutes on the Boston Bruins by just fluking into it, right? Like.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm on mute watch.
Derek, I have my tinfoil hat on. Conspiracy theory coming. Refs paid off. No, I don't buy any of that. And I really don't buy the league wants Florida to win shit. The league would love the revenue from a Stanley Cup champion in Canada.
Oh, absolutely. And look, we talked about it yesterday again. We're like, the cup being lifted in Edmonton by the Edmonton Oilers over Florida is just significantly better for the league.
Yep.
Like the atmosphere, we all saw it the other day. There isn't really a huge one in Florida. And I don't mean that to be rude to the fans. It's just the culture of it, right? Like the fans who go there, like we saw a lot of people who were in like the old Florida Panthers jerseys with, they support the team, and the arena was full, but it's just not the same.
But like, is that the bar? Right, like sell out your rink in the Cup Final. Jesus,
I think in Florida it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is, and the fan base is getting better out here, and the game is growing, I guess you could say. But man, I just never have bought into the Gary Bettman doesn't like Canadian.
I don't buy it either. I think the Canadian teams have been grossly mismanaged, and it's their own fault.
I think so too.
I also I don't like the whole tax conversation either. Like, I don't know. Is like you first off, and we talked about this before, you get taxed in the state or province, country, whatever, where you play the game that night.
Yes.
So, like, do you have a better income tax situation when you are in Tampa Bay than Edmonton? Yes. But it's actually because people always pull up the income tax calculators.
Yeah.
You got to take that difference and right off the jump, you're cutting it in half.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're actually probably cutting it down by a little bit less than that because guess what? Leafs players and Oilers, you get to play games in those income tax free states throughout the year. Yes. So like the gap's probably even smaller than half. And like Frank kind of said on DFO Live last week, I think, this is a point I make all the time. Living in Canada and getting paid US dollars is an extra 30%.
Yes.
Like there is, you could argue, an advantage to that whole thing. And like if you have a good accountant, you'll figure it out. Like I know, and listen, I'm not a tax guy. If this is incorrect info, someone in the chat, I'm sure will let me know. But like, how many of these guys get their signing bonuses on July 1? Right? Like you can skirt things around tax wise everywhere. It's not a major issue. Daryl Sutter. I mean, you mixed up some of the letters in your name, but that's fine.
Yeah, I don't see it as one either.
I think you could say it is an advantage. It's an advantage for some teams, sure.
To an extent.
But like, look at the Oilers. They got Adam Henrique for cheaper than market value because he wanted to play here and win. And like, go look back at the old like Florida teams and Tampa teams from 10, 13, 14 years ago. Like, it was past their prime guys signing there, but guys weren't taking huge discounts. The guys started taking discounts when they started winning.
Like tax-free states didn't just become a thing. They've actually been around the entire time the Florida Panthers have existed in the NHL. And the Florida Panthers were bad for a long time. Same with Tampa Bay, like all these other teams too. And even like you're saying, like you get taxed to play in wherever you go and play, right? Like outside of just Florida, for example, like Florida play a lot of Canadian teams in their division. Like it's not like a full advantage. I don't think it's like a disadvantage, but also too, I just think teams need to manage things a little bit better. And it's almost just a coincidence that all these teams are just good at the same time.
Yeah, I think a little bit. And the other thing too, like part of this as well, I get that guys are maybe signing for a little bit less in Florida and Tampa. Again, lifestyle and winning have a ton to do with that. It's not just the tax thing. But I look at Florida and like, hey, they gave Carter Verhaeghe. He just got into next year's the start of his extension. They're going to be paying Carter Verhaeghe $7 million a year when he's 37. Part of the reason that AAV is so low is because he signed until he's 37, 38 years old.
Yeah.
Like that contract's going to age like milk. You can talk about Yanni Gord. That's cap circumvention. We talked about it with Pagnota. That's cap circumvention.
Yeah.
There's no way he's
to do it.
And I mean, you can look at a lot of these extensions that guys are getting. Like even Sam Reinhart, man. Sam Reinhart's going to be 36, 37 years old, making $8.6 million. So I don't know. I don't think it's as big of an issue. Let's keep cruising along with the show, though. We're going to do a short for giant question a little bit later on. I saw someone in the chat asking about lineup stuff. Again, it is of our belief from the news desk of Oilersnation Everyday that it will be Stetcher in for Clingberg, and we talked a lot about this yesterday. We like that decision. We'll talk about it more on tomorrow's game day edition of the show, and I believe it's going to be Stuart Skinner in net. But let's keep talking, off-season cup final, a whole bunch of stuff out on the Star Mechanical guest line. It is Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. As we welcome in Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff. Larks, just because we were yapping about it there, where do you come out on that whole state income tax thing?
Oh man, I'm one of the people banging the drum the loudest. I think it's naive to ignore it at this point. Yes, of course, there's still a lot of ingenuity on the part of the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, all the teams that benefit, and it's peak hockey Twitter to think that I'm crapping on what the teams have done by saying it, but come on. Like, look how many teams from those markets have made conference finals, Stanley Cup finals over and over and over. 6 times in a row in the Eastern Conference, we're going to ignore it. And I even brought it to Bill Daly last year, by the way. I made a pitch to him. Okay, I'm going to start my appearance today by pitching it to you boys, okay? Yeah. What if you just created an artificial inflator or adjuster on the salary cap where, so for example, if you're from Florida, Nevada, Texas, the salary cap next year for you is not 95.5. It's just adjusted. It's 90. Something like that to compensate for the tax benefits. So I pitched that to Bill Daly. He said that we've tried it and we have better ideas that we've looked at, and that those don't work either. I don't know what that means, but that's what I was told.
Okay, so my counterpoint, Matt, and you just had the list of all the tax-free states up, right? Because it's
Alaska.
Oh, well, I mean, if they put a team up in Alaska, we're fucked. Texas, Florida, Nevada, and
Washington.
But that's the state of Washington, obviously, so that's the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah.
But like, Matt, you talked about all these conference finals appearances recently. Go from 2010, you could probably even go before that. You can go from 2008 to like 2019. None of these teams won a Stanley Cup. Like, it's a recency thing, and I think the lifestyle's just as big of a part of it as like the little bit of tax savings you get, because it's not like you're saving that money on your whole paycheck. It's just the games you play at home.
Mm-hmm. But what changed in 2020?
COVID.
Flat cap.
Flat cap. Yeah.
So I think that the advantage, I think there is something to sort of taking the snapshot of the last 5 years. People keep saying to me, well, why are you arbitrarily picking since 2020? No, that's why. Because exploiting any little advantage you can find, I think, is more important in a flat cap era. Now, to counter argue myself, maybe with the cap going up, it's going to become less of a problem again. Because I think people sometimes don't realize how big of an increase we're getting. $7.5 million this summer is the biggest increase all time between seasons in the cap era. And then next year it's going to what? 113, or 2 years from now, it's going to be 113.5. Next year, 104, right? So it's jumping like crazy. So ideally that will mitigate the advantage of the tax break.
And actually, yeah, now we'll maybe take this in a bit of a different direction, but we all, fans, media teams, you have to rewire your brain a little bit here in the sense of like evaluating contracts and stuff. Like if Sam Bennett were to sign for, let's call it 8x8, and by the 6th, 7th, 8 years of those deal, what are we looking at? $140 million cap hit potentially, or salary cap in the NHL? That there's going to be a lot of third line guys making $8 million at that point, and it won't even be really handcuffing teams. Like if I were a GM right now, every young player I have, every contract I sign, I'd be going max term with it, because I think it's just going to be value down the line. To an extent, obviously you can't go crazy, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Oh, 100%. I couldn't agree more. It's going to be a bananas offseason. And I was talking to an agent last week, and I'm going to paraphrase, but this was roughly the quote. Teams are going to go fucking bananas and blow their fucking brains up with the craziest spending offseason you've ever fucking heard. That was the quote. Apologize for the colorful language, but that's how pumped up this agent was. And the explanation was largely because not just the increase for next year, but when you're signing long-term deals or handing out long-term deals, you can bake in the fact that the cap's going to be way higher. And like you said, even $10 million for Sam Bennett, which I don't think he's going to get, but that seems ludicrous now. But a couple of years from now, if the cap's $113.5 million, it's not so bad at all.
And this is now a great tie-in to another player we wanted to talk to you about, and that's Evan Bouchard. You were one of the people who had Bouchard on your Norris Trophy ballot. You are a Bouchard truther, and we love you for it. But like, even with that contract negotiation, people will sit there and they will eye roll when he gets $10.5 million this summer, and they'll be like, "You're telling me he's one of the top blank defensemen in the NHL?" Blah blah blah. Okay, but you're getting him through his prime on an 8-year deal at that money. By the back half of that deal, there's going to be 20 defensemen making more than $10.5 million.
I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, I think he's worth that much even now, even if the cap was flat, by the way. Again, I'm a Bouchard truther. I can't stand I've said it before, but the drunk uncle at the Christmas party that's going to pull up his phone and show you the one time he happened to catch on his phone Bouchard turning over the puck, and that's what they're going to hold on to anecdotally. I don't fucking care. It drives me crazy. People think that he's anchored by or tied to Mattias Ekholm. No. When Ekholm was out, expected goals, 57% with Brett Kulak, 55 with Jake Wallman, 63 with Darnell Nurse this season. That's why he deserved my vote. He drives the play at both ends of the ice. So again, I'm getting fired up. I'm going off topic, but I totally agree with you. If you look at Bouchard's number, it's going to be a big number. It's going to be well-deserved, but especially if you're even 3 years, it's going to look good. But what's the cap going to be in 6 years, in 8 years?
Yeah,
he's just crazy.
He's just a good player, and I think people need to understand this is just who he is, and he deserves the money he's going to get, and people are going to be happy, people are going to be pissed, but this just is what it is. But obviously, disastrous game 3.
Can I ask one more on Bouch?
Go ahead.
Sorry, just before we get off topic, do you think he has Norris winning potential? Could you see yourself one day voting him top dog in the Norris race?
Absolutely. I've had him higher in my ballot than I did this year. This year was 5th. I'm pretty sure I had him top 3 last year. I have to go back and look at it. But I think what it's going to take, because it shouldn't be based on two-way play. The two-way play is already there. So that's a silly argument if he's being negated or if his value is being, or he's being devalued, I should say, because of defensive play. It's already there. I think what it's going to take is he needs to have the 95-point season, 100-point season. We know historically there is a leniency towards extreme offense too. So it's going to take a year where Bouchard outscores Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes, puts up a 95, maybe 100-point season. He is capable of doing it, in my opinion. Look what he's done in the playoffs. And I think that could get him the award. What works against him is just you share the ice with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and people are always going to try and take away what you do if you're on the ice at the same time. I think it's silly. Cale Makar's on the ice with Nathan McKinnon, right, who won the Hart Trophy last year. So that argument also drives me crazy. I think Bouchard can do it if people can just start to understand he is a complete player. Even if he turns over the puck sometimes, he has the puck all the time. That's why he turns it over. Yeah. Like if we looked at, imagine if Paul Coffey played in the social media era, how many people would be clipping, oh, look, he didn't put in full effort on that back check, even though he drove the play and played 29 minutes and had 5 assists.
Who was your ballot for? What was your ballot for people who don't know for the Norris?
Yeah, let's see. I don't have it in front of me, but if I remember, because we submitted in April, it was Cale Makar first. I think this year his defensive play came back up. It was a bit down last year, so he was the best all-around blue liner. Quinn Hughes, I think, would have won it if he played a full season. It's insane how much of an impact he had on Vancouver on the ice versus off the ice. So I gave him a shout-out at number 2. Zach Werenski was actually on my heart ballot at number 5 because he carried the Blue Jackets. I put him 3rd, but he was more of a break-even player defensively, outstanding offensively. Rasmus Dahlin I had 4th. I think it was overlooked how good he was this year because Buffalo was such a disaster, but Dahlin was dominant at both ends of the ice, so I think he really deserved to be on the ballot as well. And then I had Bouchard number 5.
So yeah, you were higher on Bush and higher on Dahlin than most. I do think there would be an argument that Zach Werenski wasn't the best defenseman, but he was probably the most valuable defenseman in the NHL this season. Obviously, that's not the award. Liam, the floor is yours. Game 3.
All right. Firstly, I don't really understand how Lane Hudson is 9 on this list. I don't care how many points he put up. His defensive numbers were pretty bad.
His defensive metrics were not good.
Remembering correctly, but
they did get better during the season. For what it's worth, Liam, he got better, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems crazy to see him 9 in comparison to like some of the other players under there. But either way, I wanted to ask you, obviously, Game 3, bad.
Yes.
Game 3 was bad. What changes would you make? There was conversation today that there's going to be probably one change. We're assuming it's Stetcher in for Clingberg, but would you maybe even tweak something just in the lines?
It's funny. I would try not to do too much. I understand Stetcher for Clingberg. It was a rough game for Clingberg. Part of it was fluky, of course, with the collision with the official, but then also he looked pretty bad on, it was the Bennett breakaway goal, I think, right, where there was the big breakdown. Yeah. And with Clingberg, I think the margin for error is pretty small when he's someone who's been a fairly marginal player the last couple of years. If his confidence is shaken, then maybe you want to give him a break because there are certain things he does well, a lot of things he still struggles with. So if the vibe isn't right on that pair with Wallman, then okay, change it up. Fair enough. But if you look at the rest of the lineup, I don't think you want to overreact. So for example, if you're going to try and load up a super line with McDavid, Draisaitl, well, if I remember correctly, they tried that last year and they didn't win the Stanley Cup. And I don't think can do it when you have Hyman out of the lineup and Nugent Hopkins is a game time decision. I think that's risky. I think it's a 1-game meltdown. I actually also would not put in Calvin Pickard for Stuart Skinner. I don't think the Game 3 was Stuart Skinner's fault. Obviously, the score sheet looked bad at the end, but I don't think this is an example of him letting down the team. I think it was more the team let him down in this case, and I think you give him another chance because even though I'm not the biggest Stuart Skinner stan by any means, I think he's shown his ability to bounce back. Like few goalies in recent memory, right? Isn't he Mr. Game 4? Like, isn't that statistically his best game? Yeah. So
6-0.
I think you're freaking out too much if you overcorrect this lineup. I think that's what you do if you get down 3-1, then you're desperate. But I think you have to stay the course and you have to hope. I mean, of all things to hope for, saying, let's hope Connor McDavid pulls through. There's no better thing to hope for in hockey than that, right? So hopefully he finds a way to get it done because obviously Barkov, especially with Florida having last change, they're really doing a great job shutting him down.
But like, obviously, you've covered a lot of Stanley Cup Finals. You've been around the sport for so long, and like Liam did the research yesterday of like the Panthers got blown out in 2024 last year, still went on to win the Stanley Cup. The Bolts they blew out the Avs. Avs still won that series in 2022. 2019, Bruins win 7-2 against the Blues. Blues win in 7. 2017, Preds 5-1 over the Penguins. Penguins win. Like 4 of the last 8 Stanley Cup champions have gotten blown out at some point in their series. And I saw a lot of people being like, yep, Florida just outclassed them. They outclassed them. That's the way this series is going to go. But like that, winning 6-1, 2-1, 4-3 doesn't matter. Like game 4 is different, right? Or do you not subscribe to the whole momentum doesn't carry over?
It's so tough. I'm really torn. I think if you asked me a year ago or several months ago, I would agree. And you could argue that losing big in the middle of a series actually creates urgency and it forces you to play like it's deeper in a series and as if you're facing elimination because it's so scary to get beaten that badly. So I think that's probably why those teams pulled through. It's like, oh my God, we really have to find our urgency now. That said, with these Florida Panthers being in Toronto, I've seen it firsthand. They were 2 absolute beatdowns they laid on the Leafs. And that first one was in game 5. Yes, the Leafs came back and they eked out game 6, but it wasn't the same. I feel like that game 5 was so bad that it broke their spirits and it made them feel like, okay, we can't hang with this guys. We could not beat them the way they just beat us. They completely mastered us in every facet of the game. And I think it actually like that kind of it broke the Leafs, right? And it happened in the Eastern Conference Final as well with Carolina. There was another game that was a blowout like that too, and it breaks their spirit, right? So I think that is something the Panthers specialize in. Whether they did it to the Oilers, I don't know. I think it helps that you came back from 0-3 last year. You can rely on your very recent history, and to me, Game 4 is so important in terms of just what the response is going to be, and I think we're going to know quickly whether Game 3 broke the Oilers' spirits.
I think that's fair. I mean, I liked the fight back at the end, as barbaric as that is. Like, I'm not usually a big like go beat the hell out of them, whatever. But like, I think that can almost like galvanize this Oilers team and like bring them together a little bit. Being like, guys, I think they can paint themselves as the victim in that game in a weird way. Being like, we did to Florida what Florida does to everybody, what Florida does to us, and we got all the 10-minute misconducts, and we like. I don't know. I think that can be a little galvanizing for a team. I think they're going to have a really, really good game 4.
It's funny. In theory, I would agree, but I don't think that's what happened in this case. I think it was reactive, not proactive. It happened too late. And to me, it was more an example of a team melting down. And I didn't see that as like, okay, we're punching back. This is our big response. I saw it sort of as like sour grapes in a game in which they were embarrassed. I think you need to see that type of response much earlier, maybe like off puck drop or something. You know what I mean? Like I just, to me, it felt like, I don't know, like the kid that lost the schoolyard, the fight on the playground and is crying at the end. Like I'm not trying to hit a nerve with you guys because I know that was a painful game, but yeah, I just don't like squirting water on the bench if you're Jake Wellman. That's not like, yeah, you got them back. Even Steven.
Okay.
Like I think the Panthers are laughing at that thing. We're in your head, rent free, baby.
Did you see the beginning of the clip though? Because I didn't even notice it until today when we replayed it. He's pissed because Greer takes his glove and throws it in the bench, and Jones is holding his glove and he wants it back.
Yeah, but I just see that as like getting rattled by the mental warfare of the Panthers, and I don't know. Again, this is obviously so qualitative. It's like it's just a matter of what we perceive, but it's more like specifically where in the game it was happening. And to me, it's like, this is over. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting your breath. You're losing money if you're Jake Wellman by doing this. And I think the response had to happen earlier in the game when there was something still up for grabs. And that's why I didn't look at it as this galvanizing response. I looked at it as a team kind of coming apart at the seams.
You know, it's funny. Jason Demers said the same thing to us yesterday. He's like, this had to happen in the second period at least. Like
when Florida's good players were still on the ice, like go take a run at them. The game
was already gone in the second, and he's like, what did he say? Don't miss heaven by 2 feet or something like that?
Don't miss heaven by an inch,
Yeah, like go just cross-check them harder.
Yeah.
You know, give them extra whacks. Like if you're going to do it right. But they did something, I guess. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, Game 4 is a totally new game. Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you a little bit. The new Trade Targets board is up now at dailyfaceoff.com, and Jason Robertson is all the way up at number 7. Since Gregor had some stat on the rundown where it's like since Robertson came into the NHL, he's like 14th in total goals scored, and no one above him is younger than him or whatever. Robertson being traded out of Dallas, it feels like it would be an overreaction, but like I understand the justification if it's like, we don't think he's a $10 million player and we're going to have to give him that in 2 years. Where do you come out on the Robertson drama?
Man, it's pretty crazy just to think how much has crumbled for Dallas in the span of a couple months. And you trace it back to the Mikko Rantanen trade. So yes, you're shooting your shot. You're getting a Hall of Fame player. You want to make that move. I get it. And obviously he was very impactful, but you extend him. Dallas has $4.96 million in cap space. They're in a state of desperation. They just fired their coach, kind of knee jerk, because he threw Jay Gottinger under the bus. You have Matt Duchene UFA. You have Jamie Benn UFA. You have Mikhail Granlund UFA. Your right side of your decor is a disaster. You might be buying out Matt Dumba. Ilya Lyubushkin was not the answer. Where does the money go? And if you keep Jason Robertson, okay, then how do you fix your decor? And how do you address all the problems with the depth that you're losing in free agency? So do you have to trade Jason Robertson? And if you do that, how do you win a Jason Robertson trade? Because of the numbers you guys just put out there, right? It's not that often a player of that ilk is available. So I really feel like as much as Jim Nill has gotten so much credit for being a great GM, and he really is, in the last year, starting with those 2 defense signings and then the Rantanen trade, he's really painted himself into a corner. And I have a headache just thinking about what Dallas has to do to try to navigate this offseason.
I'm going to give you an EA Sports mock trade that I just came up with in 6 seconds. Jason Robertson to the New York Rangers for Keandre Miller and Alex Lafreniere. Stars get a top 6 winger. They need a D, and maybe like the Rangers like take Lyubushkin's money back too. So there's like the incentive of Dallas frees up some space, but it's like the Rangers can go new star, like new superstar, and the Stars can sit there and go, Lafreniere is going to play in our top 6 and he can be more of a complimentary guy. And we really need another defenseman.
Yeah, that's really intriguing. I really like it for the Rangers, obviously, even though Jason Robertson's a left winger. But then if Chris Kreider's on his way out, okay, so you have Panarin and Jason Robertson. And Robertson can play, like I think he's played a little bit of right wing before. From Dallas's perspective, I think Alexis Lafreniere could be a nice fit, and he still has plenty of upside left. He's shown it, and I think he could blossom. The Keandre Miller element, I think he's a good buy low. He's a lefty, though, and Dallas is fine. They have Thomas Harley and Miro Heiskanen. They need righties. So what you'd have to do is move Heiskanen to the right, which he's been able to do before, to make it worthwhile. Overall, though, I think the Rangers, they need a righty. That's why I'll be writing about it tomorrow. I think Rasmus Andersson is a good player for them to go after.
Ooh, yeah. I could see, because didn't they have interest in leading up to the deadline or whatever? Like there was that one weird rumor that came out that was like the Stars are looking at like Kadri and Anderson or something crazy.
Right?
Yeah, I think it was our old buddy Jeff Merrick that was floating that out there, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, okay, it was. Sometimes I don't remember if something's like I read it on Twitter or if it was like a legitimate reported thing. But yeah, I believe Merrick said like there's the Kadri Anderson thing.
There you go.
There you go. Plug for the sheet coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Mountain. Matt Larkin, great stuff as always. Great coverage at Daily Faceoff. Thank you for popping on. It's always fun. I never know where our conversations are going to go, but I love it.
It's always a matter of how much caffeine I had before, and then I start cooking. I get carried away. But thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Matt Larkin, you can read his work over at dailyfaceoff.com. One of our favorite teammates at the Nation Network, managing editor and senior writer. He was pumping, I wanted to ask him about this, but it's fine. Scott Maxwell wrote a piece on 4 lessons NHL teams could learn from this year's Stanley Cup finalists, because the league obviously such a copycat league. He talked about driving expected goals, elite defensive play. Funny to hear that in a series or an article talking about the Oilers. But the one that really caught my attention was prioritizing mobile defensemen. And I think they went to Jake Wallman. And we talked Alexia. I really like Jamie Alexiak as a fit, like a pure shutdown guy. But I really, really admired, Bowman going out and being like, you know what? We're going to go a bit of a different way here. Everyone thinks we need Ekholm 2.0. No. Let's get our lowercase Bouchard. Let's move more pucks. And that is really why they won round 2, round 3 as quick as they did, because they move and don't spend time in their own zone.
Yeah, they're in and out, basically, aren't they? And I think when you have such a talented forward group like the Oilers do, that's what you need to have, is those kind of guys. And it will be interesting to see how that changes the idea of like the shutdown defenseman. Because you look at a guy like Niko Mikkola, he is 100% a shutdown defenseman, but he's still got mobility to him. He skates really well, and I think that's the way the shutdown guy is going to be kind of molded. Like Jamie Alexiak can skate. He's a good player as well. He can move the puck, but yeah, he's definitely not that. And I mean, you sit there and you say everyone said Go get this guy. Go get that guy. Not me. I was Jake Wallman the whole way.
What are you doing, Jay?
Oh, I heard it's the resident pool boy.
Yeah.
Heard whatever you want to call
All right. Everyone say hi to Shirtless Jay.
There you go.
Wanted to say Matt Larkin's appearance is also brought to you by Tourism Jasper. This summer, find your happy place in Jasper. From hiking trails, paddling wild waters, or sharing laughs by the fire, happiness finds you here. Jasper's open, vibrant, and ready to welcome you back for more unforgettable moments, because your best summer memories aren't behind you. They're waiting for you this summer in Jasper. Plan your trip at jasper.travel. All right, let's keep cruising along, Liam. Let's do one more ad here because we got a segment I wanted to get to. It's a giant question. As always, Sherwood Ford Giant Question, brought to you by the Nation Valet Service, available at Sherwood Ford. Never visit the dealership again for your routine car maintenance. They come to your house, they come to your work, they pick you up, drive the vehicle in, do the work, and then bring it right on back to you. Since we're talking off-season and Frank's trade targets board is up, give me one off-season prediction for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh. Holding my silence. I will say Trent Frederick resigns.
How? Give me the deal. Give me the contract.
A lot of people won't like it, but I think it's probably going to touch closer to $4 million than people want to
Really?
think. I just think, like, we talked about with Matt, and the way the cap is increasing so much, it just makes sense to me that he's going to ask for a little bit more. Like, maybe he doesn't quite touch $4 million. And also, too, I just want to preface, like, I understand the frustration with him.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted a little bit more, and people are going to not like this comment I'm making, but I think there's so much upside there. And the year after, if Henrique leaves, which he only has 1 year left on his deal, you can ask Frederick to the middle, hey, can you become our third line center for the next, let's say it's a 4x4, for example. Then you just throwing numbers out there.
I think it's going to be like 2 by
maybe, but
3.
But maybe he wants the security as well. Maybe he just likes playing here.
Maybe.
There's very few spots you can play in the NHL where you have a great chance of going back every single year.
Yeah.
And Edmonton's one of them. If he wants to become that guy, then I think it's one of them. I would think Arvidsson probably leaves.
Don't take mine. That was my prediction.
You asked me to give
I know. I always said one. I said make one. I said make one.
I haven't really seen the trade targets board. Do we have the full list? Is there anyone on there? We talked about the other week. I think it said Marco Rossi would be the guy I would want, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. It goes Paterka, Kreider, Rossi, Byram, Marchessault are your top 5. Rasmus Anderson, Jason Robertson, Keandre Miller, John Gibson, and Charlie Coyle round out your top 10. Here's 11 through 20. It's the rights to Isaac Howard, Vlad Tarasenko.
Isaac Howard.
If the Oilers could swing something for that, I'd be very intrigued.
Interesting. Michigan State is that, by the way, staying another year.
Yeah, first round pick in 2022. I think he would leave if a team tells him to. I think if he gets traded to the right spot, he'll leave.
Yeah.
Tarasenko, Carlson, Murphy, Girard, Morgan Riley, Matthias Michelli, who I don't mind, but he's a little pricey.
Yeah, and he's inconsistent.
Yeah, Carson Soucy, Eric Holla, Jamie Oleksiak are the rest of your top 20. And then Lyubushkin, Merzlikins, Reichel, one of Zaka Urgiki, David Kampf at 25, Thatcher Demko, Nick Leddy, Martin H's, Mitch Marner's UFA rights, and Elias Pettersson round out the trade targets board for Frank. I'm surprised Arvidsson's not on there. He asked for a trade around the deadline, whatever that story ended up actually being, but like there were rumblings he asked for a trade.
Yeah, there was.
The Oilers are going to dump that guy. And I bet you they actually probably get like a 3rd or 4th round pick for him. I bet someone will give you a 4th round pick for him.
He's had a good playoffs.
He's been all right, yeah.
And it's too, like Westside Shane pointing out, he can walk for that money. You have to remember the cap is increasing so much.
Yeah.
And sorry, someone put in there actually, and this is a good question just to explain. I believe it was Derek, who I've been watching our show a lot recently, asked about the flat cap. We just explain what that is.
So we have a graphic here because if you're relatively new to hockey, if you've been covering or watching the sport for 5 years or really following intensely for 5 years, you'd be like, yeah, the cap doesn't go up a lot. But that only started because of COVID. So Aaron, if you want to flash it up, like these are the increases from when the cap came in 05-06. Started at 39, went up 5 mil, 6 mil, 6. That year it stayed relatively flat because it is, and then 3 mil, 5 mil. Like it's pretty safe usually to say the cap is going up somewhere from $3 to $6 million in a season, but you see where things plateaued there in 2019-20, 81.5 for 3 years, and then just small 1 million increases for 2 years. Then we got the big one, obviously coming this summer.
Yes.
But the cap, for people who maybe don't know, it's a calculation, right? So it is half of the hockey-related revenue that the league claims.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, the league makes $5 billion in hockey-related revenue. I believe I'm explaining this correct. Someone will tell me if I'm wrong. But like, let's say the league makes $5 billion. So the pie is $5 billion. You cut it in half. That's $2.5 billion.
Yep.
And you divide it by 32. And that's your cap hit that's your salary cap ceiling for each team. And again, it's a projection for what the league thinks it's going to make, which is where something like escrow comes in, where sometimes the players have to pay back some money because the league goes, hey, we thought we were going to have enough for every team to spend up to $110 million. We didn't make enough. The Players Association's got to pay some back. It's a whole collective bargaining thing, but it's not just a random number. They don't just say, like, this year we feel like bringing it up $5 million. It's projections, and the league thinks obviously they're going to hit those projections. You all threw in some comments. Ryan said Perry resigns $3 million 1 year. If he's back, he's coming back for $1 million. He's not
$3 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. He might get $3 million if he goes to another team, but no.
Ryan, you watch the show every day, and I want this to come across respectfully. But that's fucking crazy.
$3 million would be insane for Perry. Yes. Sadistic Angel said signing Taves, and then Maynard said Arvidsson, Skinner, and Henrique all gone. I'm assuming he means Jeff, who's a UFA. Sure.
Henrique, so he'll be here. That's why they won't sign Taves.
So let's say, again, it's tough because Henrique has a no moves. Like, you got to find a spot for him. But let's say you can offload Henrique and you get a 4th round pick for him.
Yeah, sure.
Taves at $1 million or Henrique at $3 million? I'd be real tempted to take the savings, take the pick, and go get Jonathan Taves.
That, but I just don't believe in this idea that these guys are all going to take discounts.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like Perry didn't, and he played here. John Clingberg came in, we paid him almost $2 million. Like, it's just, it's an interesting thing. Like, people keep saying put Max Jones in for Frederick. Guys, did you watch Max Jones? You can play him for 1 game.
Yeah.
Like, Frederick is way better player. And he skates a lot better. Jones, I should say, but no, like, come on, fighting hockey. What's that? Sioux hockey.
So we got a comment saying, "Can you guys expose the background and talk to us like your silhouettes?" Oh, you're gonna get a whole bunch of J now. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
I can't even expose all that much more. This is the best I can expose on the camera, but you can see how beautiful and blue our water is.
Yeah,
it's a great
pool.
10 out of 10 pool.
Iguana was just over there with Jay's. Now you better be careful.
Yeah, careful, Jay. Jay, there's iguanas over there, buddy. Oh, God, I hope he's all right. Anyways, off-season prediction from Dacky Marner to LA. I could see that. No to Marner.
Marner's going to Vegas.
I think Marner's going to Vegas. Book it. Marner's going to Vegas. Mitch Marner's going to be a Vegas. I just feel like Vegas is going to lose in the second round. And, like, again, I don't have info on any of this shit. But, like, Vegas is going to sit there and be like, we're not stand, and they'll trade Carlson or they'll do something. They'll be like, we need a big splash. Yeah. We don't stand for losing in the second round kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry, a bunch of people put questions right at the top of the chat, but I don't. Do I have to?
Okay, well, let me get to a couple of things quickly.
Okay.
Tyler from Matthew. Tyler's a true Kreider's getting traded to Anaheim. Yes, they're taking on the full cap hit there.
Kerry Terrence, I believe, is the prospect who's going to go back some way or another.
We also got a couple of super chats. One from our boy Jeremiah up in Alaska. Boys, love ya. Hope you're enjoying Florida. We are. Rumor on the street is Isaac Howard will sign with the Red Wings, but I think he wants a chance at an NCAA title with the Spartans. That's interesting. And Cup year put in $13.99 and said Liam's word of the day is glaciers.
Glacier.
Glaciers.
Glacier.
There you go. Also said Cup year at the end of it. Of course you did, because that's your whole thing. It's your whole bit. Oh, you got an ad. Bro,
I do, but I will say, I know Maynard was asking earlier on, does anyone have YouTube Premium?
Yeah.
At least the ads are a bit different now. They look a bit better. They come side to side and doesn't cover your full screen. So you can still see the graphics and have an idea of what we're chatting about, at least, which is good.
All right. Let's get to a couple of the questions. We said we'd do a little. Let's do those to end the show.
Okay. Great producing, Aaron. Thanks for the email.
That's awesome stuff, Aaron. Do you want to do what's trending?
Sure.
Do we want beers to end the show since we're...
I really have to blow my nose. We can get them.
Okay, well, I'll start what's trending. You go get beers and blow your nose.
Okay, I'll be right back, everybody.
All right, what's trending is brought to you by LCO Law. LCO Law plays for Team U. They are Alberta-rooted and Edmonton proud. And when it comes to fighting for everyday folks, they don't back down ever. When insurance companies play dirty, they drop the gloves. If you've been injured and want to fight for your right to fair compensation, or you've been denied your long-term disability benefits, contact LCO Law. Stop by their office right in town or visit them online at LCOLaw.com. Lawyers you love, they do exist at LCO Law. There's one thing that is really trending. I'm going to talk quietly here for you guys. We're going to do a fun little bit. Liam's celebrity crush is Sabrina Carpenter, and she dropped a new album photo the other day, and Liam goes fucking bananas every time you show it to him. So at the end of what's trending, Aaron, when Liam's back, we're going to show the Sabrina Carpenter photo, even though Liam told us not to. So we're going to do that to Liam right at the end. All right. Okay. Now that we're back on the same page, let's continue along with what's trending. Kris Kreider getting traded to the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks have so much money. It's insane. $38 million in cap space. I think they want a good vet to play with some of their kids. And Kris Kreider, like with all the injuries and all the stuff he went through, still scored 22 goals last year. So I think it's actually a real win-win. Rangers now have $15 million in cap space. They're trying to kind of, change up their culture and whatnot. So we got Kris Kreider to the Ducks. We got, I saw a lizard, and it was very, very big. I showed you all the photo of that one earlier. A new episode of Ask Doobie is certainly trending. That one is up now wherever you get your podcasts from, or right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. Again, Oilers Nation YouTube. The questions were great this week. Doobie was fantastic. So add that into your hockey show podcast listening routine. Jeff Skinner's not re-signing to us. Jeff Skinner's definitely not coming back to the Oilers. Cedric said, I want to see you shotgun a beer. I can't because all of our beers are in bottles right now. So no shotgunning for me. If I had a straw, maybe I could do like the straw, but I'm not fucking. I'll just drink my beer like a normal person today. How about that? Oh, and what's trending, because Liam won't give a shit about this one. The Toronto Blue Jays are the best team in baseball. I don't know. We're getting to the summer, and we're transitioning slowly out of hockey. Obviously, Oilers going to win a Stanley Cup first, all that stuff. But if you're someone who's been like a casual Jays fan in the past and you're like hop on the bandwagon when they're good, start watching them. They're unbelievable. They have some young talent, Addison Barger. They're going to get some guys back in their rotation. The Jays, best team in baseball, I think, over the last 30 games. They have just been red hot. They got another win last night. I think they're playing right now, actually, against the St. Louis Cardinals, looking to finish off a series sweep of the Cardinals. Yeah, they're down 2-1 in the top of the third. They got a man on. Who scored the run? Oh, Tyler Heineman doubled home a runner. Sick. Anyways, you got us so we sent Pat Puff to go get beers the other day, or he was on his way home from the rink, and we were like, can you go grab beers? He bought the tiny 7-ounce Coronas. Oh, sorry, I muted you. I didn't want you.
No one
want the rattling.
What I said.
All right. I think I went through basically everything except one thing in what's trending.
It's too bad. Love what's trending. What else is trending?
Aaron, do we got anything else?
Who's that? Is that the girl from Girl Meets World? Why are you laughing?
You doing all right? This is
fine.
good. Yeah. Sabrina Carpenter, new album, Man's Best Friend, dropping soon.
I love her song, Please, Please, Please. She
All
has
right.
another hit.
She does. She has a handful of hits.
She's got a few hits.
All hits, no misses. Well, I don't know if that's true.
She's quite the up-and-comer.
Yeah.
Better than all these other Disney stars that come and go.
She was a Disney star.
She was. She was in the hit show Girl Meets World.
Oh, I had no idea.
Did you ever see Boy Meets World?
I know the show. I know the show, but I didn't watch it.
Show.
All right, let's wrap up the show with, we got to do some bets for Bet365. Download the app today. Use the code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. At Bet365, official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm letting my Bouchard bet ride. I've decided that. But Connor McDavid, 25-plus shots on goal, is minus 110 on Bet365. I think that's a good spot. He's at 13 already.
Yeah.
He's at 13 already. I think he can get 12 in the rest of this series. He already has a 7-shot game. So, like, if he gets one of those, I don't know. You could also maybe just take the juice and bet him like 5 or 6+ shots tomorrow night. But there's a couple futures there. Goal scorers. Corey Perry's close to getting his third. That would cash a nice one. I parlayed it with Draisaitl.
Nice.
NBA Finals tonight as well on Bet365. Thunder are 5.5-point favorites. Series is 1-1. It's going on the road.
Yeah, that'll end in 5.
Mm-hmm.
Eli said, just tuned in for Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, thank you.
Also a fan.
Thank you, Eli. Look at his photo.
Eli From Nate. That's his news
That's
watch
his
photo.
news one, yep.
My laptop died. Son of a bitch.
You unplugged it earlier, didn't you?
No, I
Anyways.
unplugged my phone. I was draining.
So I'll get to the questions here. Our Ask Us Anything questions to wrap up the show. Let's do them, Aaron, for... Oh, no sponsor attached to it, actually.
Let's do Alberta Teacher Association.
Sure. Let's do our Ask Us Anything for the Alberta Teachers Association. Did you know Alberta spends the least per student on public education in Canada, leaving schools underfunded and in crisis? Overcrowded classrooms, unmet student needs, and dwindling supports are driving record numbers of teachers to leave the profession. As Albertans, we cannot ignore this neglect. Our children deserve better. It's time to act. Advocate for increased funding and demand answers from your MLA. Why does Alberta invest the least in its students? The excuses must stop. Stand up for schools, support our educators, and help ensure every child has the opportunity to succeed. The future of education in Alberta depends on it. For more information, visit stoptheexcuses.ca. Our Ask Us Anything questions. What are your thoughts on the Oilers being linked to Jason Robertson? How would it even work from Mitchell? That's not a guy I'm jonesing for the Oilers to pay up for. First off, assets-wise, it would cost you, like Savoy, they don't have a first.
I don't think they have the assets.
They don't have the assets, so it's probably a non-starter. You have $11.9 million in cap space right now. You need to commit, let's even call it 10.5 to Bouch. So then how can you get to $7 million in cap space? You'd be trading both Arvidsson and Henrique just to afford Robertson for next year. And then how do you fill out your roster? It's just a mess. I don't see it happening at all, and I'm fine with that.
It's too bad they wouldn't have the assets because he's obviously a good player, and I've kind of decided in my own head that I don't think Jason Robertson is a consistent playoff performer. I think if you look at his numbers on the surface, yes, he shows up and he has good games. But when you actually dig into it, he shows up for like a game or two.
Yeah.
And there's like a hat trick, and that's great. But it's not too bad. Like I just think that he would fit on the Oilers, but the Oilers just can't afford him.
I agree. This one from Dacky. We saw the Stetcher swap. Do you see the Oilers swapping out a forward too come game time? I'm going to say no to that. They're running the same group here. They might jumble up the lines, but they're running the same group.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do not see any changes coming.
J.O., do you guys actually think the Oilers come back? Don't you think the warning signs are there? They came back from down 3-0 and flipped that series on a dime. Yeah. This Oilers team has the ability to just snap out of a funk and just go. They can very easily do that. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they have a 3-2 series lead coming back to Florida. This Oilers team cannot stun me anymore.
No, nothing surprises me with them. But yeah, I agree. If they somehow can turn this around, it would not surprise me if they win 2 or 3 in a row.
Big Fuzz said, "Who are the refs tomorrow?" No idea yet. We'll find out tomorrow.
From game 2.
Oh, really?
Isn't it just 4?
Is it a rotation?
It's just the same ones because Wesley McCauley did
game 1.
Game 1.
Okay.
Wesley McCauley. What am I, his mother?
Do you think Kane's ice time goes down not because of him taking penalties, but because the refs look like they target him from Norm? No, because you can't just not play him. You just need him to play smarter. When Kane is on, he's such a factor. He's a goal in this series, obviously. Norm, I get where you're coming from, but you can't sit there and be like, the refs are targeting Kane, so we're going to stop playing him. That's just not quite how it works.
The other angle of it too, Norm. Nugent Hopkins is banged up.
Yeah.
You need Kane to step up and elevate and create a bit more offense. And I think he had a couple of moments last game, at least the one really good opportunity. You need Kane to be what he was in game 1. That was his best game by a long shot. And I think maybe one of his best games as an Oiler, I think all around games. Obviously he didn't score, but his physicality was fantastic.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. They need more. They need someone else in the top 6 to give them some juice.
Yes.
So, all right, boys, girls, everyone in the chat, Liam. I think that's a wrap on today's edition of the show. That was a lot of fun. We went to some weird places. Didn't do a full Stanley Cup Final show, but tomorrow's a short for Giant Game Day. We'll worry about that then. We got some special guests lined up for tomorrow as well. So giddy up. That is a wrap on a Wednesday hump day edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. Aaron, back home in Edmonton. Great work producing this bad boy. Everybody in the chat, enjoy a beautiful sunny Wednesday, and we will see you right back here tomorrow. Game day, Cup Final from Florida. Oilers look to even it up. Let's go. I'm ending the show on a high note. Oil up.